Yo, freedom marchers, freedom family, freedom lovers, freedom fighters. What's good? It's your boy Snapzilla Gorilla. I am back to discuss a very controversial topic, and I'm gonna give you guys a minute to get up in here. You know, I just got through doing a live stream about the gun ban, basically the suspension of our rights. Well, not our, but not, you know, I don't live in Albuquerque, New Mexico, but the suspension of the rights of the people of New Mexico, and Albuquerque in particular. And in that live stream, I was also supposed to talk about our fear of Jewish retribution, and I'm going to discuss that in this video. Now, this video may very well give me a strike. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I'm no longer going to, you know, I never was in fear of that group anyway. I mean, you know, not in particular. It's just always funny how people, you know, kowtow and just go out of their way to protect and defend a certain group of people when they're not even under attack. No, they're not under attack. Not to the degree that other groups are under attack and never get any protection, never get any level of defense that they get. You know what I'm saying? Like the Jewish community, next to the elemental P community, is the most protected class in this country and in the world. Okay, even above children. They are a more protected class than children. Understand? And you know, you can have children in any class, any group. You know, black kids, Jewish kids, elemental P kids, that they so-called elemental P kids. You know, children don't enjoy the level of protection and the level of reverence that the Jewish community and the elemental P community enjoys. Let alone the black community. The black community, we're the least protected class in the country. You know what I'm saying? Next to, I would say white folks, but you know, white folks are essentially in charge of the country. So I mean, they are the dominant society. They are the dominant culture, and so, you know, it's really on them, really. And so that's something that if certain white people don't feel like their voice is being heard, like they're being attacked, like they're victims of CRT and this, that, and the third, you got to look at your white counterparts in the elite class. They're the ones who are pushing this shit. You understand what I'm saying? But that's neither here nor there. Fear of Jewish retribution. First of all, let's talk about this whole anti-Semitic thing. First you gotta understand what is anti-Semitism. That's not really important. You don't really need to know what anti-Semitism is. It's basically, if you're anti something, that means you're against it, right? That's really essentially what it means. That means that you are vehemently against that particular thing. Like if you say antimatter, right? There's something out there, theoretical substance out there called antimatter. Well, it is against matter, right? If it comes into contact, if antimatter comes into contact with matter, it completely destroys the matter, right? That's what it is. Anti-Semite is someone who is against a Semite. But we have to understand, what is a Semite? Is a Semite strictly a Jew? No. A Semite is not strictly a Jew. An Arab is a Semite, right? A Moroccan is a Semite. Those people that live in that region of the world, or whose ancestors come from that region of the world, they are Semites. It's not just a freaking Jew. You understand what I'm saying? Like certain Italian people, certain groups of the Mediterranean, they are Semites. You know, that border of Africa and, you know, Arab, Arabia, that area over there where 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 the Muslims are, and the Israelis, and though and who's a Semite? The Palestinians. They're Semites, right? They're Semites. Persians, they're Semites. It's not just the Jew. Okay, let's get that right. Semites are not just Jews. They're Jews, they're Arabs, they're all those types of people. They that come from that region, or whose people come from that region. That's what a Semite is. A Semite is not just a freaking Jew. Okay, let's get that out the way. And let's get into what anti is. I explained to you what anti is. Anti is just against, the opposite of, right? A force against. Anti-Defamation League, right? They're against defamation. And invariably, what these people tend to call anti-Semite is not really anti-Semite. It's not anti-Semitic. No one is calling out against Jews. No one is, no one that I have ever known of since maybe Hitler has come out against Jews, except for the neo-Nazis and the KKK, and those groups are anti-Semites, right? They are against the existence of Jews. That's what an anti-Semite is. Anti-Jew, someone who is against Jews. But if someone were to say, a lot of Hollywood executives are Jewish, and they control much of the entertainment industry. How is that anti-Semite? It's a fucking fact. Since when was a fact inherently anti? Jews running the Hollywood is not anti-Semite. It is just what it is. It's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Jews being good with money. Jews own a lot of property. These are not, even if it's not inherently true, right? Even if it's not inherently true, it's still not anti-Semite. Just like saying, black people love chicken. Black people are good at basketball. Black people have inherently better physical genetics than certain other groups. This is not anti-black, right? These are just observances. These are just things that are these are things that are known, right? Through empirical data. Through what do you see when you see all these athletic sports where black people enter into and participate in? They are typically better than any other group. That's just part of the game. That's just what it is. So that's just like if saying, oh well, black people are good at basketball, black people are good at jumping, black people are good. It's like that, right? Or white people are good at white people are good at hostile takeovers, right? White people are good at conquering other lands. White people are good at slaughtering and pillaging, and it's just based on empirical data, based on what it is. That's what it is. And that's just part of the game. It's just like saying most serial killers are white. Most gang members are black. That's just part of the game, man. Most bankers are Jewish. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. This is not anti-anything. Those things that I just stated is not anti-white, it's not anti-black, it's not anti-Jewish, it's not anti-Hispanics. What we can say about them? they're typically shorter, right? Mexicans, as those of Aztec ancestry, are typically shorter. That's just what it is. Because back in the day, their ancient motherfucking ancestors, they were motherfucking short. They were little people, right? And so most Mexicans in Mexico are going to be shorter. This is what it is. The average height of a Mexican in Mexico is much shorter than the average height of an American. That is what it is. This is not anti-Mexican. This is just the truth, right? It's just the truth. If you look at all the executives in Hollywood, they're mostly Jewish. These are facts. These are what it is. Look at all the big bankers, the big banks, all the old bank owners. Most of them are Jewish. It's what it is. That's just part of the game. It is what it is. That's not anti-Jewish. That's pro-fact. It's pro-fact. And saying, oh, well, be careful with your friends. You know, there was this guy, his name was Jesus. He had the people that killed him and all this other shit. Like, saying it is not anti-Jewish. Judas was a fucking Jew. It is what it is. He was just saying that as an example of even your best friends, your closest friends, those you consider your best friends, can stab you in the back, can turn state evidence against you, can just motherfucking just betray you. Just so happens, Jesus' friends were Jews. Jesus was a Jew. But that's not anti-Semite. That's pro-fact. Right? If you believe in the story of Jesus. Right? That's just what it is. And then you get the backlash. You know, it's bullshit, right? Look at what happened with Twitter. Right? Elon Musk bought Twitter. Started reinstating people that people consider to be anti-Jew or anti-Semitic. Based on free speech principles. And so the ADOS, or the ADOS, no, the Anti-Defamation League, they decided to start a campaign to turn investors or advertisers away from Twitter, and it had a huge drop in revenue. And so now Twitter is considered to be anti-Semite, right? But no, that's not what it is. You know, Twitter is just a platform, right? It's just a platform. They're not. It's not for them to get rid of people that they consider to be anti-Semite. No, it's to allow. It's a platform where you allow. It's a public square where you allow people to have their free speech. You understand what I'm saying? And it is what it is. Like, one person I will say is maybe an anti-Semite is a motherfucking Nick Fuentes. He might be an anti-Semite. He's a fucking neo-Nazi for all intents and purposes. The Friendly Outcast was good. Give me a minute. I gotta start this gas. You know, it's just what it is. These are facts. It ain't Jamie Foxx's fault that Jesus was a Jew, Judas was a Jew, all these motherfucking apostles was a Jew. It's not his motherfucking fault. He's just making an example. Like, he's using the best example he can come up with. Look how much Jesus was betrayed. And he was betrayed by his closest friend, who happened to be a Jew. That's just, it is what it is. You know, it's complete and utter nonsense, right? Complete and utter nonsense. And his fear of retribution from the Jewish community. It needs to stop. It needs to stop. And I'll give you an example of how that can happen. Here's what I think should happen, right? You know how the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, which is basically just for Jews to complain about people being anti-Semite, when 90% of the time the people that say are anti-Semite are not anti-Semite. They call for these advertisers to be, you know, to pull their advertising out of Twitter. Well, you know what we can do as a people, right? Well, this is what we should do. All those advertisers that pulled out, that decided to go against free speech, to basically, you know, try to back Twitter into a corner, to initiate censorship, we boycott them. They boycott Twitter. We find out who those advertisers are. We boycott them. We don't spend our motherfucking money with them. We say, fuck off with you. And then boom. Guess what they gonna do? Once they see a drop in revenue, they gonna get their fucking act together. I mean, look what happened with Miller Lite, or Bud Light, with the motherfucking transformer, the conditional transformer, who likes women. And that decided, look what happened with Bud Light, decided to do that thing with them and turn their back on the people that have spent so much money with them in favor of this elemental P agenda. They lost tens of millions of dollars fucking with that. That's the power of removing your financial support from these institutions that decide to go against the people that support them and that bolster them the most. So we find out who these advertisers are, and we motherfucking boycott against those advertisers, because they are coming for free speech by financially putting a financial stranglehold on Twitter to operate as a public square for free speech. We need to we need to protect every public square that we can. You know what I'm saying? Even though Elon Musk has initiated some questionable censorship, like, you know what I'm saying, and all this other stuff, and putting someone in charge that is basically going to be a censorship guru again, you know. And look, once that start happening again, fuck Twitter. We'll pull out of Twitter. Like, we have to stand on our nuts when it comes to protecting our rights. When it comes to free speech, when it comes to the right to keep and bear arms, we need to stand on our nuts and say, no, fuck that, man. If you are pro censorship, if you are pro gun restriction, then we ain't fucking with you. Go on ahead with yourself. You understand what I'm saying? That means a politician, a mayor, governor, you know, a judge, anybody that we have the power to influence. We need to start standing on our nuts and saying, fuck off with you. Fuck off. And what does the Constitution say? That there has to be consent of the governed. We have to give our consent to be governed. And let me tell you guys how you give your consent to be governed. Every time you vote, you are giving your consent. Every time you register to vote, you are consenting to vote. You're consenting to be governed, because you're saying, here, look, I'm going to register to vote, and I'm going to go vote. I'm going to submit a ballot, and hopefully it goes my way. If it doesn't, well, guess what? I'm still going to consent to be governed. That is what you're doing every time you vote. When you refuse to vote, you are not consenting to vote, to be governed. You are not consenting. We do not have to be governed if we don't want to. That is the beauty of the Constitution. And I'm not even I'm not even constitutionalist, because there's so many contradictions in the Constitution. But nonetheless, you hold on to the things that you know are real. and that go beyond the Constitution. It's above the Constitution. Constitution is just there to outline it, right? The consent of the governed, all those contradictions that go against our rights. Well, the consent of the governed, that's what allows that. You remove your consent, then you remove those contradictions. That's how the shit works. That's how the living document of the U.S. Constitution works. And when it talks about rights that are not enumerated within the Constitution that are still to be upheld, what do you think they're talking about? There are certain rights that don't have to be written down in the Constitution that we enjoy, that we should be able to enjoy. Understand this. This is what, you know, a lot of people don't know anything about civics. You know, they think it's just, you know, you know, this person, they make laws, they enforce law. It's not just about that. Everything that this Constitution has built, everything that was built around the Constitution, right? Every good thing that was built around the Constitution, every bad thing that was that sprung up in spite of the Constitution, all the bad things that came about in spite of the Constitution is because we gave our consent to be governed. We gave up our consent. We gave our consent, even when they violate the Bill of Rights. Every time they violate the Bill of Rights, and we just sit there and say, "Oh, let's go sue them in court and let's pay some money." No, no, you know that why? What do you think 18 USC 18 USC 241 242 is there for? Anyway. There are ways for us to get back to what we're supposed to have, which is complete and total freedom, right? Complete and total freedom. We don't have to give our consent to be governed. We do not have to we don't have to give our consent. And that doesn't mean that we have to leave the country. No, that doesn't mean that, oh, we got to be, no. I can stay right where the fuck I'm at. Give up my consent to be governed and live my life as I see fit, continuing to do the shit that I want to do. Except, guess what? I wouldn't pay taxes, and I wouldn't, you know, all these gun laws wouldn't apply to me. As long as I don't violate someone else's rights, murder somebody, steal from somebody, violate anybody's rights in any form or fashion, I mind my own fucking business. It shouldn't be a problem. And whatever contribution I want to make to society, whether it be financial, whether it be through my work, completely voluntary. And you know, I would make contributions. Why not? Because I live within a society. I'm a social being. Humans are social beings. We have to contribute in order for certain societies to function. Otherwise, I can go off into the woods, build my own cabin, stake out some land for myself, and do my own fucking thing and live just fine. There are people that can just live, they can live perfectly fine outside of society all by themselves. And I could, if I were a single man with no wife and no kids, I would be able to do that. But be under the fucking, I would have eminent domain hanging over my head, of course, and I would have to pay, you know, property tax and all that bullshit. But see, that's the thing. You remove that shit, and you only contribute to what you feel is going to benefit you and the society that you live in. Not motherfucking Pakistani gender studies, not Ukraine. No, our money should not be going to that. It should not be. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for now. Yeah, living in fear, we gotta stop it. You know, this living in fear of the wrong things, right? There are things that we should fear, but it's how we react to that fear, how we implement that fear. What do we do in response to our fear of something? Do we panic? Do we do something drastic? Or are we calculated? Do we plan? Do we come up with strategies to strategies to solve a problem, or do we just wallow in it? Do we just recede to our little corners and try to be quiet and mousy? No, we stand up in spite of our fear and say, hey, this is how this shit's gonna work. You ain't just gonna run up over me. No, we gonna do shit the right way. And the right way is the way of freedom. Point blank and period. Anyway, much love, like, share, subscribe, and let's keep marching forward toward freedom. Peace.